This is the growing homeless crisis in San Diego 2025, where the rising tide of prosperity is leaving a devastating wake of displacement. We're not just talking about street corners. We're talking about a systemic failure that has pushed tens of thousands of working people, seniors, and families out of homes and into the shadows. The official 2024 point-in-time count, the most recent full data snapshot available in 2025, revealed a staggering 90,605 people experiencing homelessness across San Diego County on a single night. This represents a 3% increase over the previous year, continuing an upward trend that defies the city's growth. Crucially, the crisis is defined by its visibility. A shocking 60,110 people were categorized as unsheltered, meaning they were sleeping in vehicles on the streets, in riverbeds, or in canyons. This overwhelming unsheltered population, over half of the total, is a significant 18% increase from 2023, showing that while some shelter options have expanded, the rate of people falling into street homelessness is accelerating. The challenge is immense, with the number of people becoming newly homeless each month continuing to outpace the number of people being permanently housed. The reality is that the capacity of the current emergency shelter system is woefully insufficient for the true scale of human need, leaving thousands with no option but the sidewalk. The hot zones, where the crisis converges. The crisis is not evenly spread. It concentrates in specific urban and transit corridors that have earned the nickname hot zones. Downtown San Diego, particularly the area surrounding East Village in the Core Columbia District, remains the epicenter, with large, dense tent encampments creating intense public health and safety concerns. However, the crisis is increasingly being decentralized. Following the implementation of the Unsafe Camping Ordinance, which restricts sleeping on public property near schools, shelters, and parks, the unsheltered population has shifted aggressively. Data indicates a notable movement toward the city's periphery. Encampments have grown along the banks of the San Diego River and its tributaries, and deep within the canyons of Mid-City. Additionally, a large surge in visible encampments has been documented along the major interstate and freeway off-ramps, particularly along stretches of the I-5 and I-8, often on property managed by Caltrans. These hot zones are where the failure of the housing system becomes the daily reality for residents, tourists, and businesses, highlighting the need for solutions that address the root causes rather than just relocating the visible problem. Hidden homeless, the van dwellers. While the tents capture headlines, a vast and often unseen segment of the population, the hidden homeless, is quietly growing, those living in vehicles. According to recent demographic deep dives, 1 in 5 older adults experiencing homelessness now reports using a car or other vehicle as their primary residence, illustrating the trend of a vehicle being the last defense before street life. For working-class families and individuals, a car, van, or RV represents a desperate, yet legal, attempt to maintain some dignity and security. Programs like the Safe Parking Program have doubled their capacity in recent years to address this group, now offering hundreds of safe, legal spots with services. However, the total demand far outstrips the available capacity. These vehicle dwellers are often employed, sometimes commuting to work from their parking spot, but their wages are simply not high enough to afford San Diego's skyrocketing rents, trapping them in a state of precarious, hidden homelessness that exists in every neighbor. The senior surge, losing hope at 60+. Perhaps the most tragic aspect of the current crisis is the rapid surge in senior homelessness. The population of unhoused adults age 55 and older is the fastest growing demographic, now representing an estimated 30% of the total unhoused count, up significantly from previous years. For a staggering 43% of these seniors, this is their first experience with homelessness. They are not chronically unhoused. They are newly poor and displaced. The primary drivers are fixed incomes, insufficient Social Security benefits, and a complete inability to absorb high housing costs, with a median income for a single older adult falling dramatically short of funds needed for basic living. Even a minor medical crisis or the death of a working spouse can trigger catastrophic housing loss. These are individuals who often spend decades as productive members of society, only to find themselves without a safety net in their final years. They require targeted resources, such as shallow rental subsidies, as their needs are fundamentally different from younger, chronically homeless popu. Lad irons, The $116,000 problem. Cost of living versus wages. The root cause of this humanitarian crisis is an economic one, crystallized by the city's extreme cost of living. San Diego's median income for a family of four hit approximately $130,800 in 2025. Yet, the required annual income needed for a modest, comfortable existence for a single adult without dependents is estimated to be around $79,000, with that figure rising to nearly $145,000 for a family of four. This massive gap, which we call the $116,000 problem, referencing the high cost of a two-bedroom apartment relative to minimum wage, is a mechanism that generates new homelessness. Workers in essential services, healthcare support, food preparation, and retail earn average annual salaries between $40,000 and $55,000. These wages, which are insufficient to afford the average rent of nearly $2,500 for a one-bedroom apartment, ensure that homelessness is not a problem of them, but a hair's breadth away from being a problem of us. Until the supply of truly deeply affordable housing can meet the needs of the working poor, San Diego's crisis will continue to grow, turning economic hardship into a perpetual emergency. From tourist to tent city, San Diego's image. The growing crisis carries a significant non-financial toll on San Diego's identity as America's finest city. The visual evidence of suffering, with large-scale tent encampments in high-traffic tourist areas like downtown, the Gaslamp Quarter, and near Petco Park, creates a stark and immediate contradiction. The presence of encampments has led to increased tensions between business owners, residents, and the unhoused, impacting the viability of commercial areas and raising public safety concerns. For a city whose economy relies heavily on tourism and conventions, injecting billions annually, the visibility of the crisis poses a direct threat to its brand. Convention organizers, tourists, and prospective residents are forced to confront the juxtaposition of world-class amenities with endemic poverty. This is not merely an aesthetic problem. It is a moral liability that strains public trust and diverts resources towards reactive measures like cleanups and enforcement, rather than proactive, long-term housing solutions. The image of San Diego in 2025 is increasingly defined not just by its sun and sand, but by the undeniable humanitarian crisis unfolding on its sidewalks.